Super Show.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. I'm once again your host, Cain Stevens, and we are back at it. We're chugging along, chugging, choo, all the way to the promised land. We got another good show for you here. I think we're going to continue the Curse of Arnold Heights series this week. I'm going to read a ghost story from somebody who sent one in to me. It was probably about a year and a half ago. I've been bottling this stuff up, holding on to it, keeping it safe and next to me. But it's pretty terrifying what they have to say. So we're gonna dive into that and maybe give you a little bit of what I think about it, and then it's a really good fitting continuation of the hauntings that are out there in Arnold Heights in Lincoln, Nebraska, out in the western part of Lincoln, Nebraska, where I grew up and where my parents currently reside, as well as my sister-in-law, and a bunch of other people. So a lot of friends that I grew up with. So it should be interesting to them. And if you haven't heard of it before, it's going to be news to you. So we'll be doing that here pretty soon. First off, though, we got some business to take care of here. We got to attend to a little segment we like to call Paranews.
Paranews.
All right, so this one if you do a simple Google search and go to news, paranormal news, this is from live5news.com. Live 5 is somewhere. WCSC in, what the heck, it's not showing me anything. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But anyways, live5news.com. The Conjuring home, if you've watched the Conjuring movies, and I know we all have, it apparently sold for $1.5 million, and paranormal investigations are going to be continued. So that's awesome. It's great for all of those of us who haven't been to the Conjuring house. That's a bucket list paranormal place for me. So if you want to fly me there or drive me there yourself and put me up in there, that'd be sweet. I'll do it. I'll be a nice, good, clean guest. I won't make a big mess and eat Cheetos and dump them all over the floor and have myself a few cocktails and do all that stuff. I'll just I'll go there and enjoy the terrifying house it is. So if we get into the article here, it was from so I guess the article was from the Associated Press, so they took it from that, so that's good. Published on May 28th of 2022, so not very long ago. Let's see, the Rhode Island farmhouse that inspired the 2013 horror movie The Conjuring has been sold to a Boston developer who plans to keep it open to the public. That's great. The 18th century home in Burrillville sold for $1.525 million on Thursday. Whatever Thursday was at that time, not very long from today. Far higher than the $1.2 million asking price. So I'll bet the films and the popularity of this place has skyrocketed the price. The buyer, Jacqueline Nunez, owner of the Wonder Group LLC, told the Boston Globe, "This purchase is real personal for me. It's not a real estate development. It's around my own beliefs." So they must be a paranormal enthusiast or or what we'd like to call a paranormal capitalist. They could just be wanting to make money, or maybe that they want people to investigate. But that's really good. They plan to continue the paranormal business that the previous people owned. The guests will be able to continue nightly paranormal investigations. Day tours will resume, and there will be live streamed events. That's awesome. This is the paranormal feel good story of the years right now. So it says the movie wasn't filmed at the house, but was based on experience of a family that lived there in the 1970s. I'm not going to go into the Conjuring hauntings because you can watch the movies and read a ton about it, and pretty much every podcast out there has done something. You can hear my son playing Oculus in the background. Bryson, I guess it does like there's some sort of calorie counter on there, and this kid burns in a sitting like 1,200 calories or something. So, so keep at it. He just got done with lunch. He'll have his lunch burned off in about 35 or 40 minutes, or I don't know. I don't know what he shoveled in. So, let's see. Is there anything else of note on this? Nunez was quoted also saying, "I don't believe the energy here is malevolent. Things will happen here that will startle me, but not harm me. I look forward to experiencing things." So there you go. That's your pair news for the day, or for the week, or for the month. I don't know when you're listening. So, but there's your pair of news. We do it every episode now, and yep, Conjuring House sold. So for those of you who had your bid in and you were hoping to get it, you didn't get it this time. That's all right. Maybe she'll sell it down the line to you for a whopping profit, like the sellers before. So, all right, there's pair of news. So, now that we've done it the way we wanted to do it, let's get into the crux of what we're doing here. So, the airport the airport out in West Lincoln is just a stone's throw away from Air Park, also known as Arnold Heights. And here in Lincoln, Nebraska, it was a great place to grow up. It was we also grew up in a different time, where we could literally roam the streets all day and all night in the summertime, and nothing would ever happen. You could do all those things that you're too scared to let your kids do now. Not saying that I didn't get into a lot of trouble, but overall I had a great childhood. So it was great out there. But there is a lot of really strange activity that has gone on out there, and once again I'm out here to prove that this neighborhood of ours is one of the most haunted neighborhoods in the country. I mean, I believe it wholeheartedly with all the reports that people have reported to me. People have been talking about it for years, and people have seen things, felt things. I've physically been in a haunted duplex and had things happen to me. And, it's just, it's a crazy place. If you weren't a believer, like the person that we're going to mention here, not by name, but their ghost story that they sent me, you weren't necessarily a believer before, but you become one after. So, if you are living out there currently and you're experiencing anything, please don't be afraid to get a hold of me. Please tell me what's going on. I would love to hear it. I won't make you feel kooky. I won't make you feel crazy. I will, I will talk to you and I will listen to you, no matter how nutty it sounds to you. So please don't be afraid to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me on Facebook, the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. You can also get a hold of me on TikTok, Instagram, Cain Stevens Podcast, the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. You can email me at the Cain Stevens Podcast at gmail.com. So just get a hold of me. Let's make it happen. Maybe I can get you on the show if you want to be on. If you don't, that's cool too. So this one, well, I'm going to take a couple minute break here, and then I'm going to get myself reset up, and then we're going to get going here. You'll barely notice. All right, so I'm back. See, that didn't take very long. Freshen my nose and powder in my face and whatnot, and I'm back. So, anyways, so this was from, that was a little longer than I had thought. This was from December of 2020 that I received this, and I've been holding on to it. It's I'm just going to read you. I'm going to read you what he had said to me, and then we'll do a little commenting on it. I won't say, I can say that it's he, but I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say where. Because honestly, I don't think that he has listed the. Well, I can say the general area. Okay, so here's the letter. He said, "Hey man, just listen to Curse of Arnold Heights Part 1. If you guys haven't listened to it, check it out. It's great stuff. Can't wait to listen to Part 2 tomorrow. I've got a quick story to share. Here's the quick version. Around 13 years ago, my wife and I lived in a house in Michael's Circle. We lived there a little over a year. Let me say that I never believed in ghosts or the paranormal. I will say now as 100% fact, there was something in that house that I can only describe as pure evil. It was a very, very, very dark energy, dark, heavy, menacing, sometimes gave an overwhelming sadness feeling, but always terrifying and seemed like it wanted to harm us. It wanted to make its presence known to anyone who came over for dinner or to visit. Sometimes appeared as a mist or fog, almost slithering through the home. Other times it was a black figure or shadow, or black figures or shadows, and they were absolutely menacing. My son, he says a 2-year-old son, would wake up screaming and oftentimes went to bed fine, but had scratches on his chest, on his back the next morning, even on his neck. His wife, after becoming pregnant, began getting these scratches all over her belly. It was almost as if this dark energy was after my children. We tried calling priests. Unfortunately, we're not Catholic, and they didn't help. We tried calling paranormal investigators out of Omaha, but they were unavailable at the time. We ended up finding a psychic medium couple in the phone book. They came out, walked in the door, down the hall to my son's closet, and said that this is where it's coming from. They did a cleansing of our home. It felt like a weight had been lifted off of our chests for a while. My wife was getting more and more pregnant, and things started happening again. At this point, our lease was already up, and we got the hell out of that place. He said he's a pretty big guy, roughly around, 6'3", 240, so, pretty big dude. He said, and I don't scare easily. He said, this thing, whatever the hell it was, had me absolutely terrified to go inside my own home. I can't even drive past that place without getting the chills to this day. Many more details to this story if you ever want to chat. So that's how he left it. We had a little bit of correspondence together. He said that he was relieved to hear that others in the area had similar experiences from my podcast. Not that he wanted that type of thing to happen to people, but just that he wasn't crazy is what I'm gathering from it. He said it felt as if he's losing his mind. Wanted to know if it was kind of the same thing as others were having. He asked if anyone was out there in Arnold Heights. They're having ghosts, just ghost haunting, regular type activity, or does everyone in the area seem to have a menacing, almost demonic in nature? Is there something big that's not really talked about going on out there? Possibly some sort of vortex or portal to another realm, he asks. I don't know. I mean, to be quite honest with this person and to all of you, a lot of the there's many accounts that are different, but a lot of them have the same nasty tone to them. They have as you dig into it more, they do have that menacing dread, and I would call it an oppressive nature to it. You would go in your house and you just feel all this emotion and all these, like people are around you all and watching, and that may make me sound, pardon me, that may make me sound like a kook, and I don't care if that's how you feel, because this is how I felt and my family felt when we were in the middle of the haunting that we had living out there. I mean, just a heaviness, rooms that are, the darkness is blocking out the dark, down the halls where you can't even see past it. I mean, it's extremely terrifying. The scratching, the touching. This was probably one of the most aggressive cases. I mean, there are other cases, but I would say very aggressive towards the children. And I personally felt, and so did my wife, that what was ever, near us or in our home was, centered around our children as well. Like the majority of the stuff happened in their rooms and to their things. I can recall one night we're all sitting eating dinner together. My wife and I, we generally would sit like in the living room, with a TV tray or something, and watching Wheel of Fortune or whatever. Our kids would be in the dining area, which isn't very far, stone's throw away. And all of a sudden, we kind of hear like a ruckus going on in the hall in the back room, and we hear like beeping and squeaking and all sorts of stuff, like toys being moved around. So like, what the hell is that? We go back there, and multiple toys are going off at one time. They were like the type of toys. I mean, they were little kids. So my son, he had like one of those Batman deals, like where it comes with the cave and all that stuff. But it came with like a deal where you can put Batman in it, and it has like a counterweight to it on the bottom. And so if you set it, Batman's kind of like hanging in the air and dangling around. Well, I go in there and that thing's going off by itself, and Batman's swinging around and around. And there's other toys going off too, like a little race car with like lights and beeping. And then there was like a like one of those stuffed animals that has like lights and sounds and stuff, and all this stuff's going off simultaneously. And it was really terrifying. It was really strange, and that's only one account. I mean, that's not even all of it. But that's just kind of giving you an idea. And that was in the room where my girls were in at the time. They had small beds in the room, and they stayed in there. And it was it's stuff like that. It doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it. According to I've done some research. I tried to contact some people that I knew who were Native American, and see if they know of anything that from when it was native land. There's the 9 Mile Prairie right next to it, and I'm sure that the natives would roam the area and had hold of the area at the time. I don't know if it would be a Pawnee or who it would have been, but I asked them, and nobody really could tell me anything. The guy who sent me this, he did send me some information because he had been looking into it for himself. Like, what the heck with this? And he did a little prep work for me, which is cool. He said they came across the somewhat strange information about the polio outbreak. There was a polio outbreak in looks like 1954, and it was centralized to that area. And this was taken from the state of Nebraska Department of Health in 1954. It says a study published in 1957 Okay, so it was between 1954 and 1961. But anyways, a study published in 1957 detailed an occurrence of a polio outbreak in Huskerville, which Huskerville is what it used to be. It's still called that today from when it was a Air Force base. Community created for married veterans, World War II, blah, blah, blah. It's just giving some of the... Let's see. We're in Lancaster County. It says of the population of 1,142 at Huskerville, at least 35 children, or 3% of the population, contracted polio. These children were all from one geographic section of the village. In the other geographical section, there were no cases of polio, so it was very centralized to one area. Let's see, it had the second highest polio outbreak. It looks like in the entire area, maybe even the state. Let's see. Yeah, they're talking about Iowa here. So I guess what it says is they were testing some water and ended up finding the way they found it, the centralized location, was they noticed that there was they were passing it somehow through, like, the plumbing was connected together in some weird way. I'm no expert at all, so I'm just a untrained idiot trying to spit all this knowledge to you, or lack thereof. It was due to contaminated water, and so that's what caused the polio outbreak. There's a ton of this that you can read. Here's something you could look into. I'm not going to read all of it. Is all one word, Digital Commons, all one word together, .unmc.edu, and there's a ton of this stuff, and it's all it looks like on page 14 of 34 pages, it's on there, and it talks. So if you want to look into it yourself, you definitely can. But that's very interesting that there was a I've been trying to get down to the bottom of why the heck there would be some. And this guy even hypothesizes or asks, like, is there a portal out there? I mean, what is causing all of this? I mean, can you imagine living in a place and being so terrified of it when you leave that you get the chills when you drive by, that you're scared to go by it, that you don't ever want to talk about it again? I tried reaching out to him after that, and he basically just says, honestly, it was a really bad time, a really terrifying time in their life, and they really just kind of want to put it past them. So I haven't had any correspondence with him since. I've messaged him again, reaching out, and still nothing, letting him know that I'm going to tell the story without revealing them, and nothing. So I'm assuming that they just don't want any part of it, which is fine now. But I do appreciate the story. This is one of many, and I'm going to continue to tell that story so that people listen and people feel more comfortable coming out. And so please come out with your stories for the Curse of Arnold Heights and Airport. It's not negativity. If that's how you feel about it, I respect your opinion. It's not negativity towards the area. I love the area. I grew up out there. It's telling the stories so that we can normalize it and make it okay for others to tell the story, so that they don't feel like they're kooky or they've lost it. That they gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We got to be able to tell the story. So I hope you enjoyed this story. I find it pretty scary. Hopefully you're sitting, not in front of your fireplace. It'd be pretty hot in the summer, but hopefully you're sitting outside on a nice clear night, and you're, sitting by yourself, and you're listening to this, and you're you're staring out at the woods, or you're looking up at the stars, and you're waiting for something to happen. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe you hear a noise behind you. You know, a branch breaking, or the sounds of hard footsteps behind you, and it kind of gives you that feeling that it gives us who have lived out there and experienced some of this. So I hope that you've enjoyed the story. I'm not really sure. I've got some other things lined up. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week, and following this, because I don't want to announce something and then not have the episode be that. So, with that being said, I think we're gonna do one last segment, and then we're gonna call it a night. Another episode in the books. So, once again, we've got the old 1970s something, Your Horoscope and Your Dreams book here. We're gonna thumb through it. We're thumbing back and forth. You can hear the pages. If you smell it, it smells so good. I don't know about you, but I just love the smell of an old book and the look of it without the unsightly dust cover, even though it protects it. And I'm probably the reason why all these books are destroyed over time. But anyways, we're gonna do at least one or two dreams. So I guess it's now is as good a time as any to do our favorite segment,
In Your Dreams.
All right, so we're thumbing through the book once again, the dreams section. Oh, back and forth, up and down, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. And if you're a Contra fan, you just got yourself 30 lives or something. So here we go. Then the C's. All right. Here's a great one. Corn cob. Since we're in Nebraska, corn huskers, the old corn cobbers. Here we go. If you see a pile of corn cobs seen in a dream, it's saying that divorce in your close circle of acquaintances will happen. So, if you smoke a corn cob pipe in your dreams, it denotes that by meeting adversity with a stout heart, you will accomplish your ambitions. To use a corn cob for cleaning silverware is an omen of more money in your pocket. What? Who came up with this? I love this book, but who the heck came up with this stuff? Like it sounds like they wrote like a bunch of things, and then they have a word. They're like corn cob, and then they like reach into a hat and they start pulling out things that it could be doing. Like it sounds ridiculous. Like, how could they possibly come up? All right, let's stay in seeds, since this is a paranormal show, super show that is. Let's do corpse. So this should be good. A full life is predicted by a dream of seeing a corpse you cannot identify. For death precedes life, just as surely as life precedes death. How poetic! It's really kind of pretty reading it that. But anyways, such a dream is nothing to alarm anyone. Frequently, it is an augury of success and happiness. If you dream of being dead, it signifies a release from your troubles and recovery from illness. To dream of conversing with a corpse is propitious. It signifies strength, courage, and clear conscience. To dream of embalming a body, and who hasn't done that, right? Or watching an undertaker embalm one is a sign of a innocent action of yours will be misunderstood. So that was a mouthful. There's some crazy words in there for a dummy like me to not pronounce very well. And you're probably, if you're a master of the English language, you're punching yourself as you're listening. Oh no, I'm so sick of this. Like this guy. But we did it. We've done another dream segment, and a darn good one today. So if you're dreaming of corn cobs and corpses, embalming and whatnot, you've got an answer. The answer is there for you. Why did I dream that, and what does it mean? Well, you'll have to listen back if you don't remember what I said, and hopefully it shed some light. So we've done it, everybody. Another episode in the books. We are moving along nicely, and I'm excited. The last thing to mention is this isn't necessarily a segment, but people who know me know that I'm a connoisseur of I'm not going to say dumpster diving, but if I see something cool that needs to be repurposed, I may or may not sneak over there, sneak. Got my black shades on and a hoodie, and I'm covered in camouflage. I might go over there and run out of the bushes and snag something that I think is worth saving, and then run back to my house so no one sees. So here I am revealing my secret to all of you, the millions and millions and millions of listeners out there in the world. I wish, right? It could happen. It could happen. We hope. I'm hoping and praying. But anyways, I went to the Goodwill because I'm doing for my song. If you haven't heard it yet, please listen to it. Cain Stevens, the song Ghost, out on all streaming. Nice little shameless plug there. But anyways, I'm going to do a video, like a stop motion video type deal, with this crazy dollhouse that I found out while I was surveying the land. And someone just so graciously left it out there for me to take, and I knocked on the door and asked if I could, and they said, yes, please. So I went to the Goodwill, and I'm looking for dolls, which is strange enough, being a grown man. And they have all those little bags full of dolls and all sorts of weird stuff for like $5. And I found this one, and it's like all cloth dolls. I'm like, oh, thank heavens. Yes, I snatch it up. I hold it next to my heart, and I run to the counter, and well, I didn't do any of that, but I was excited to get it. I got home, and I'm opening this thing up, and I'll be darned if there aren't two, and I'll take pictures of it and send you. You tell me what you think. They would have to be candidates for a doll possession or something, like a haunted doll. There's two of them that I'm positive are voodoo dolls, and I hope that there's not human hair and blood and guts and teeth and all that in there, because I'm probably going to be doomed. So, stay tuned for more to come on all of this. I hope nothing happens, but these things are really crazy. So I'll take pictures of those. So I'm going to leave you on that note and hope that I don't have a crazy haunting occurring here just by buying a simple bag of weird dolls at the Goodwill. So we love the Goodwill. I'll continue to go there. They do a great job, I think, except for pricing. Sometimes pricing's terrible there. But anyways, I digress. Thank you guys for listening to the show, everybody. I hope to, hear from you, and I hope that you stick around for the next show and the next show and the next billion shows after that. So this is the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. I'm once again your host, Cain Stevens, and we are out of here. Everybody, thank you for listening, and good night.